Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to spend a bit of time talking about my Arken Optics EPL4, or what I like to call a dual-purpose crossover optic. So let's get at it. Up until recently, Arken Optics has really been known for their precision target shooting optics, the SH4 Gen 2 and the EP5. These are both scopes that are really beefy, 34mm tubes, large exposed turrets, heavy optics, scopes that are genuinely made to be used at the gun range while you're in a planted, seated position, not entirely designed to be carried around due to the weight, the bulk, and the other features on these scopes. But as people got to using these scopes more often, and as they do in hunting applications, the demand became extremely great for, hey, we want a lighter version of one of these scopes. We want something that we can carry around and not be so bulky. And that's where Arken Optics started to make some changes and the EPL4 hit the scene. At first look, you can immediately tell that the features of the EPL4 are not entirely those of the new slimmed down LH4 model, that this optic does carry over many of the features of the Precision, the EP line or the SH line of optics. So let's look at those features. Let's look at where the crossover from the LH4 to the EP5 are blended into this EPL4, and we get this dual purpose crossover type optic that I'm talking about. Let's first talk about the reticles available on the EPL4. Now, Arken Optic has made this scope available with the VHR reticle. Now, this is the variable hunting reticle. It does not have a lot of clutter. It doesn't have as much detail for doing holdovers, and it's a really simplified user version of the VPR, which is the variable precision reticle that you find on the SH4 or the EP5 line. Now, these reticles are both very easy to use, but as you can tell, the VHR is really more designed for hunters who may not have as complex of holdovers. Now, the most obvious difference on the EPL4 compared to the EP5 and the SH4 Gen 2 is the selections of turrets that Arken has put on this optic. If you look at the SH4 Gen 2, this has the same turrets as the EP5 or that came on the predecessor, the EP4. And you'll notice you have adjustable turrets for both elevation and windage. Well, what Arken has done with the EPL4 is capped off the windage and left an elevation turret. This is a nice feature. This is a feature that allows this optic to really fit in that blended crossover category. It's going to allow precision shooters to still dial in nice, really accurate elevation changes without having to rely on doing holdovers with the reticle, in case maybe you do have that VHR reticle, that variable hunting reticle, without as many little fine details on it. You can still crank in an accurate shot with this turret. But at the same time, you have a windage turret that is capped and protected from getting bumped or moved around by your gear by that nice little cap right there. Along with changes to the turret, we can also notice that the body size on the EPL4 has been slimmed down. We go from the 34mm on the SH4 Gen 2 and the EP5 down to a slimmed down 30mm tube on the EPL4. Just like the LH4 hunting optics. This allows this optic to slim down and be a bit lighter, and that is a bonus for hunting situations carrying this optic around. Now, the EPL4 still has the variable magnification. All of the Arken accessories still work on this, the flip caps and the bubble level, and as usual, it does still have the Arken zero stop system on your elevation turret. The EPL4 really is a true crossover between Arken's new LH4 lightweight hunting line and their existing target shooting line, the SH4 Gen 2 and the EP5 optic. This is an optic that truly does sit dead square right in the middle with features of both optics. And I think this is a scope that's going to appeal to a lot of people. This is an optic that's going to allow for precision shots. It's not going to be overly heavy, not going to be overly bulky. It's got some protection with your one cap turret, and it really fits the bill for a lot of people who like to do both kinds of shooting. Let's face it, we've got a lot of shooters who are not dedicated to solely hunting or solely target shooting, and they don't have a lot of rifles. They want one scope or one rifle that's gonna do it all. Maybe they go hunting a lot, but they've got a friend these days that's saying, hey, let's come out to the range. Let's try doing some of this long range shooting. or just the opposite. They're a target shooter and they've got that friend that says, hey, come on, let's get a license and let's go deer hunting. I think Arken really nailed it out of the park with the EPL4. This is a scope that does it all and it can do it all well. All right, so there you have it. This is my quick review of the Arken Optics EPL4. I think this is a great optic to consider if you are the hunter who's looking to increase the distance of your shots or needing to improve on the precision of your shots. Perhaps you're going to be going hunting antelope and you need to shoot farther than them typical whitetail hunts. Or you're going to be shooting at some prairie dogs and you need to tighten up that precision. This optic really can do it for you. You've got your turret on top to play around with your elevation, and you've got the side focus as well to keep that parallax right in, and it's lightweight. Just the same, if you're the target shooter, this optic really is the Chevy Silverado. You still have the illuminated reticle, you still have the high level of magnification, you do have the adjustable turret for your holdovers on top, including whichever reticle that you want to pick. So with all that said, I do feel that the Arken Optics EPL4 is that Silverado of scopes. This thing is the do-it-all. You don't need to have a rack full of rifles and a rack full of scopes to do both your precision target shooting as well as some quality long-range hunting. So with all that said, thanks for checking back in. Consider the EPL4. If you haven't looked at it, check them out. And as I always say, keep on shooting.